jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And we went over subject matter jurisdiction. We went over territorial jurisdiction, admiralty jurisdiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
The instructions he was given was in the face of a court, and it's telling you, according to the rules of court, under the discovery aspect, when you request the discovery that details their ability to prosecute by having what's called competent jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling you the things that has to be on file in order to establish that competent jurisdiction over the person, which is personal jurisdiction, which nobody has jurisdiction over you unless you are a minor. Your parents have jurisdiction over you, not the state.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Personal jurisdiction makes you sui juris
Mm-hmm.
in proper person, proper persona.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so when you sui juris, that means you are a competent adult, right? Able to handle your own affairs as a sovereign. But they don't honor that under the corporate jurisdiction, because to honor that would be to confess to their fraud.
Right.
Right? The whole constructed fraud is based on a wartime acquisition of the Americas, and it was being exercised by the Crown of England under the false pretense that the colonists was independent of the Crown when they rebelled. But they was never independent of the Crown because King George was funding both sides of the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's funding both sides, he gonna win no matter who come out winning. But all of it is a Mutt and Jeff routine to deceive and dupe the natives of the land, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, they start their conquest and expansion. Mm-hmm. This is why they got rid of the Articles of Confederation of the Continental Congress, because it's never been overturned. It's more controlling in law than the actual Constitution, because first in line is first in times under the grandfather clause.
Mm-hmm.
So they never said that we no longer need the Articles of Confederation, therefore we render them null and void. There's no court case that says that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no legislation before Congress that says that. They just start doing their thing in place of us doing ours. And when we opened ours up at Congress Hall, they shut it down and opened theirs up in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
You see the switch.
Mm-hmm.
D.C. was called Rome at the time. And all roads lead to Rome. So when they started their conquest, they have to first get control of the people. This is where your slave patrols began that turned into your police department.
Right.
Right? When they were slave patrols, that was a name given to them after the fact. But they used to be called Indian control.
Mm-hmm.
When they first was established. Right? And the purpose is the whole goal was to try to seize all of the highest ranked elders so that they can encroach upon us and expect the youth not to know the ways of the elders to be able to fend them off. So they can force their law system. Their uniforms give them the appearance of legitimacy. That's called uniform systems.
Mm-hmm.
That falls under the jurisdiction of the Uniform Commercial Codes. The codes is the description of how to operate the systems.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when you study in law, when you get to the Uniform Commercial Code, that's a whole separate field of study. Because it's so expansive But it's a couple of things in there that's critical. It said that when the rightful owners assert ownership, that the fraudulent owner must surrender it.
That's right.
Right? So when we using the oral traditions, we following our ways. By following our ways, as we get more and more of the tribes active in understanding what's taking place, we start to form an exceedingly large alliance of tribe members. Right? I don't have a problem with the $5 Indians, except for the ones that got a problem with us.
Right.
I don't got a problem with pale faces, except for the ones that got a problem with us.
Right.
I don't got a problem with Africans, except for the ones that got a problem with us. Right? Everybody that got a problem with us, I got a problem with them.
Right.
Right? And we can solve it how you want to solve it. But as long as it's one of us, I don't got no problem.
Right.
Right? And the reason I don't got no problem with one of us is because we the righteous ones, standing in the position of right, exercising our rightful jurisdiction to reclaim what's rightfully ours that was given to us by the Creator when earth was formed.
Right.
That's all. It's not personal. It's just family business.
Right.
I just take family business personal.
Right.
So I personally asserted our family jurisdictional right to exercise the law of the land, not the law of the Admiralty and Maritime. All of the systems was put in place for us to move back into our positions. Now we've been put in it for the last 5 years in the public domain, so that all of the tribes can have an opportunity to discover it.
Mm-hmm.
The same way they do, except they put it in the public domain in codes. And then when they do, I read it, the code, and tell you what they saying.
Right.
Right? And sometimes it look like I got a crystal ball that I can see the future, but I can't. Mm-hmm. I could just tell you what they saying they gonna do according to the codes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And according to the stellar alignments, because they do everything on stellar alignment, zodiac mapping in order to map their course for prolonged times into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell y'all what they saying, what they doing, and then it give you an opportunity to disengage from their BS. Example, the last show was about, what was the last show about, Elder?
Lady Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, we went over a commercial. You remember what the commercial was about?
Yeah, the children commercial.
About them going back to school, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you had a hot event in a school today that took several children's lives and wounded several other.
That's crazy.
Now, remember when we did the last show, they had just had one in Wisconsin that didn't hit the mainstream news. Because I don't think nobody got killed or took out in that one.
Yeah.
Right. So they already heating up, telling parents to stop sending your children to school. We have to put it in the public domain in the simplified English format for the most amount of simplified English speaking people know exactly what they telling us with their codes. When they telling you in their school, going back to school commercial, that they gonna have an active event, right? It's not that it's speculative, it's gonna happen. So if you're not preparing your children on how to handle an active event in their school, you shouldn't send them. And if you send them, I can't say that much about your intelligence, because they already told us in the back to school commercial what to expect, and we already had 2 events since I told you.
Yeah.
They told us what they gonna do.
And
so
we got a whole tape on that, Rod. You got a whole tape called the school shootings. It's in the file too. A whole 2-hour tape breaking down exactly what they was gonna do. So that's crazy that's happening now. We did that tape like what, 3, 4, 5 months ago?
Might have been longer than that, man.
It might have been long ago. And then we also
might have been over a year ago, but because I've been telling them about the Manchurian candidates, in the MK Ultra program for a couple of years, and people think that I mean, even when they had the event in New Orleans, when they was trying to put the hit on Ali Carter, and the Manchurian candidate said no and drove that car down that street in New Orleans instead, right? And then the response back was explosion of a Tesla in Vegas, telling the ENO that don't nobody tell us no food. But he told them no, and Ali's still here. So he decided to go straight for the top. The people that's giving the instructions to follow the unconstitutional mandate that was not supposed to be enacted because it violates the Constitution. Remember, I've been telling everybody for the longest, they violate the Constitution whenever they want to, as long as we don't do it. All of their laws is they find ways around it, and they don't enforce them against each other like they enforce them against us. Right? So it's good to know, and it's important to know that this is actual and factual legal standing when we do the public notices. Yeah, that's good. So he going over when you're talking about you by yourself versus 70 million people, right? So when the one person come out telling the general public, he's gathering the 70 million to understand the fraud that's taking place. Once 70 million people understand the fraud, you got the power of the people to change it, right? Remember I told you when we went over the warrant in prior class that it's a declaration of war against a single individual by a massive group or corporation. That's why I say we the people of the state of whatever versus Chief Pontiac Rod Hayes. I'm by myself. And they got all of the resources, and I don't have the resources. Because I don't have the resources, then they can abuse their jurisdictional authority by only waging war against me. It only affects me. But when they issue the warrant against the whole nation, now that's when we form an automatic defense mechanism called a standing army. An army of those who refuse to be tread upon. Right? Remember the flag, the rattlesnake? Don't tread on me. Right? Because if you continue to just watch individuals, it's like watching the sniper shoot off all of the people in your village. Every day at 12 o'clock, you take out 5. Either you gonna mount a defense, or you gonna stop taking your ass out there at noon. Right? That's called common sense. Right? That stems from the first law of nature, self-preservation. Roll the corn out. Yeah, color of law, right, and conspiracy. Now, they call people who expose this information conspiracy theorists. That don't mean the conspiracy is not happening. It's that somebody is giving the theory of the execution of the conspiracy and they're exposing it. Therefore, the conspiracy theorist is the scientist that's coming up with a theory of the fraud. This is how it works, right? And then you heard her say, I'm here to give public notice for you to correct your people to follow the law. This is the Republic reclaiming the Republic back from the corporate. Once the Republic is done making their rounds, you see he was in Wyoming, now he's in Pennsylvania. He's a civil rights attorney, but he was dispatched by the Trump administration to do all of the public notices to the agent, I mean to the principal, while we've been notifying the agent at the grassroots level, organizing the 70 million people so you ain't fighting this war alone with the one. the information becomes critical when you understand how it matches and meshes with the tribal tradition. And now you have a major civil rights attorney going around the country serving public notice, to several of them involved in it, as you seen the lady in the last video, right? But later on, we're gonna show y'all some videos of some foreign people serving public notice. We got, I think, one from Australia, and then we got one the Maoris serving public notice. We got time. We can go over a few of these, and then we'll isolate to the ones that we need to discuss more. Go to corn after we know the truth.
Hey, so it's going on worldwide. It ain't just going. It's going on worldwide because these people who went after everybody's spot on the planet, they're not from the planet. They panic poachers and they don't got no place to live, so they went around trying to take everybody else's. Around the world, all indigenous people.
That's why I say any God that told you that he created the whole of this world and didn't create you a place to be until he come back from death, right? That's a fraudulent God. Because if he created you and the whole world, he created somewhere in the world for you to be. But when you don't have no homeland, nowhere you go, and everywhere you go, you got to take it from other people, like you see going on in Gaza, but you also don't see it going on in Somalia, Sudan, and several other countries that you don't see it taking place, but the same genocidal assault to remove the people from the land is taking place, and they're using the pale-skinned Khazarians and the Zionist movement to do it. So we had to put the devil on notice. Once we put the devil on notice, he know that there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, because you got the tribes all over the world exercising the earthborn tribal right to follow our oral tradition, which is grandfathered in because it's never been overturned. As you see, you have civil rights attorneys doing it in active law in the current day. That shows you the validity of the public notices. And when the war chief is speaking, no matter what he's talking about in the public domain, it's a public notice to agent being noticed to principal. And then it's also an awareness to all of the similarly situated members of different tribes across the land to, hey, this is what's taking place.
Exact thing that she's going to say. I listened to the whole thing. But she was putting.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was enough for that one. We still got like an hour and 20 minutes, so or hour and 10 minutes, so we good for on time. But some of them we might want to go over some discussion, and then we might see some good questions in the chat dealing with what we're looking at. So we will deal with it as it comes, and we can just. I want to go to if you could pull up the Australia one.
I think at the bottom. Main people that colonized us, because King George and them colonized them too, as well with the penal colonies. They connected with us so deep it ain't even real. Like the same people that colonized us colonized them. Go ahead, Rod.
That's called the Queen's Holdings, right? That's why they call it the Queen's Land. It's everything Queen Lizard Bitch used to be in control of, right? So you seen that was Australia giving public notice to decolonize the land. That was the same public notice that I did when I first started back in 2019, when I told them because they never honored a treaty, we couldn't find one they ever honored to void all treaties for fraud and non-performance. That's what I did on July the 6th, 2019. Now you see that other people have done it. Show them Mary Big Mama elder there.
Yeah. Right.
So what he's telling us there is that every one of these judges is frauds. That's what he's telling us. He's just being what they call diplomatic and Machiavellian about it. But he's telling us that the judges are frauds, they criminals acting in the criminal capacity in a hot and active ongoing conspiracy that they all should be seized under the RICO Act in civil law or in common law, or not common law, innate law, right? And then in federal law, they all need to be arrested, but then we need new judges. What 90% of us didn't know is there are tribal courts on the land that we can go to and file these charges. We didn't know we had tribal courts. They never tell us about the tribal courts that's been operating, practicing the laws of the land the whole time they've been running their admiralty stage show on us, deceiving us out of everything. Because we ain't supporting the tribal courts, they ignore their or their presence, not just their jurisdiction, but their presence on the land. But the tribal courts need to be unified in order to serve collective notice on the corporation. And the only way to unify them is by us being aware that they're there and us being aware that they have superior jurisdiction to the corporation. And the corporation's charter is called the Constitution, because that's all it is, a corporate charter. So if it's a corporate charter and we have territorial rights supersede and overrides any admiralty jurisdiction present operating on the land, because it's wartime jurisdiction of the conqueror, not the conquered. It looked like they was conquering us until we decided we done with the shenanigans, void the contracts for fraud and non-performance. Only one of us had to do it. Everybody didn't have to know how to end the corporate jurisdiction, only one, with the ranking of a tribal chief, by being examined by different tribes from all across the land to determine if they're going to allow him to serve the public notice. And that's what took me so long since I got out of prison. All the tribes didn't believe. Right? But then when there's nobody else offering up the proper method